Hello friends, this is Durga from IT Varsity. As part of this live video, I'll be covering how to take certification exam such as CCA 175 a bit more effectively. First, I will define the problem statement, then I will actually get into the details. And before defining the problem statement, let me walk you through a bit about how the environment will look like. Then we will take it further. Now let me start sharing my screen and then I will actually take it further. Now you should be able to see the screen, and also you should be able to hear me. Let me confirm that is the case. Meanwhile, I will also open a new tab in the browser, and I will start sharing the browser as well. It is still not coming up. Let me see. Yeah, now you can see. Now let me take you to the CCA 175 official page. For that, you can just Google by saying CCA 175 and hit enter. Now you can scroll down and you can go to this link, CCA Spark and Hadoop Developer from university.cloudera.com. In this, okay, this is not the right one. This is to purchase the coupon. So rather than going there, let me actually take you to official page in a bit different way. As part of the Google search, it is not giving the actual link. I think this is the one which we can fall back on. I hope this will not take us to the $295 page. Yeah, this is the official page for CCA Spark and Hadoop Developer, published by Cloudera itself. Now, I have already covered details about curriculum and all as part of another video. I can share those details also with you. Once you get into the Slack channel, if you want access to that video, I can provide the link. And also probably I might add it to the description. So that you are familiar with the curriculum, and then you can take it to the next level. Before taking the exam, make sure you come to this page and understand the development environment, how it will look like. Not the development environment, sorry, the certification environment, how it will look like. And based on that, you can actually make some corrections as part of your preparation to give the exam. And then you can go ahead and give the exam with a bit more confidence. Now, if you look at this as part of the new user experience to take the exam, they will be providing access to a remote desktop. As part of the remote desktop, they will provide the browser. And as part of the browser, you can see that there are two iframes. If you are familiar with HTML, you will understand what iframe is. Iframe is nothing but a section of the website which can render separately compared to the other frame. So there are two iframes. On the left side, you have a Linux-based terminal in the browser, and on the right side you have the simple HTML pages where there are problem statements, which means as they have provided earlier, where you can use editors such as Sublime Text, or they even provide IDEs, you will not be able to do so going forward. You have to use this terminal itself, and you have to come up with the solutions based upon the problem statement. Now, many people are not comfortable with Linux-based editors such as VI, Nano, etc. Even if you are comfortable with it, you have to go back and forth between the Spark sessions that are launched using Spark Shell or PySpark, and then you have to type the code in VI editor, copy paste into the Spark Shell or PySpark, which is wastage of your time, and also which might be a bit buggy. If you are familiar about how to validate directly out of PySpark or Spark Shell, probably you might be able to give the exam with a bit more confidence without going out of the PySpark or Spark Shell. And then you can validate within the PySpark or Spark Shell itself, and then you can complete all the solutions for all the problem statements. That being said, let me demonstrate, and then you will understand both the problem and also the solution which I am walking you through. So here I am using our labs, which is similar to the cluster which is provided to you. Rather than using a browser, let me use the terminal here. I hope you can see the terminal in a moment. Once I am in the terminal, I am connecting to the gateway node of my cluster. this is similar to what you see as part of the browser. Now, if I go back to the browser, you can visualize whatever you are seeing here as this one, which is on the left side of it, of this browser. Now, this is the Linux terminal, and you will be getting access to the Linux terminal itself. If you want to launch Spark with Scala, as part of our labs, you can say spark2-shell, which will launch using Spark2 version. And then I have to say --master yarn. And in our lab, we have to pass this additional property. You might not have to do this thing as part of the environment provided to you as part of while taking the exam. You just can start using Spark shell by saying spark-shell. You don't need to say spark2-shell. First, you have to figure out how to launch Spark, whether using Spark shell or PySpark, once you get the environment, and then you can take it further. Once you understand how to launch, you can launch it, and it will look like this. So in my case, I'm just using 0. You don't need to worry too much about --conf at the least while taking the exam. Max, you might have to say --master yarn to make sure that Spark is launched with yarn. And also, instead of saying spark2-shell, you might have to say spark-shell. And once you do this, you will see environment like this. Okay, here you can develop all Spark or Spark-based code using Scala as programming language, and you can take it further. So let me try to solve a simple problem statement, and then I will actually walk you through how to validate whether the problem is solved properly or not without getting out of this. So once you launch this, you should be able to use this environment effectively, develop the code, and then take it further. I would highly recommend you to be comfortable with paste, especially if you are using Spark shell. With PySpark, I don't think you have a paste option the way it is here, at least as far my knowledge goes. But with Scala, you can launch paste mode. You can develop the code, and you can hit Ctrl-D to come out of this once the code is developed. Let's say that problem statement is to read the data from CSV file and write it into JSON format. In our labs, we have the data in a location called as /public /retaildb/orders. It is of type text, and comma is the delimiter. You're able to validate those things. As it is not within the scope of what I'm trying to demonstrate, I'm not getting into too many details. Let's say I want to just read the data from orders to write it into the JSON format into a particular location. The location is nothing but /user/training /retaildb/orders. Okay, so how to do that? First, I have to say val orders equal to. For this, you need to have decent amount of knowledge about how to read this data, and I'm actually providing an option saying infer schema true, which will actually get us the data types also. CSV public retail_db orders. So this will actually read the data from CSV file, but as we are running in paste mode, it will not execute immediately. I have to hit Ctrl-D to execute immediately. Now I want to write it into a file system using JSON format. For that, I can say orders.write.json, and the path I want to give is nothing but /user/training /retaildb orders, and close it. Let's say this is the path which is provided as part of the instructions. We need to make sure that the path is given here. Now I can come out of this by hitting Ctrl-D. It will execute, and it will write the output to the JSON format. Now, how to validate whether it is written to JSON format or not? Let's see what is the issue here. The directory already exists. So what I can do, I can again go to the paste mode like this. I can copy paste these 2 lines of code. Make sure you don't copy till the end. If you copy till here, till the end, it will actually take you to the next line. I don't want to go to the next line. I just want to paste these 2 things, and I want to say mode overwrite. so that if the directory already exists, it will just be overwritten. Now I can hit enter and then Control D. Now it will execute, and now it is written to the file in JSON format. Now I want to validate whether it is written properly or not. Especially I want to see the data itself as long as it is in text format. So JSON is also text format and we should be able to see the data. Also, I want to see the extension of the files and all those things. One way is to come out of this and run HDFS DFS command, which is a bit cumbersome, and also to answer another problem, again you have to launch it and again you have to write the code, and whenever you launch it will take time, which will waste your time at the time of taking the exam. To avoid by coming out of this and validating, what you can do is, if you are using a Scala based approach, which means if you are launching Spark Shell and writing Scala based code, then first you have to import something called as sys.process._. Okay, what it will do is it will actually import certain shorthand operators that are provided as part of Scala to run Linux based commands. Once you import this, how to run a Linux based command to validate? A typical command to see if this path contains JSON files or not is nothing but running the HDFS DFS command. So you can say, if you are on the Linux terminal, you can say HDFS DFS -ls, paste this path, and you should be able to run it, and it will actually show whatever files are there in that location. However, as we are using Scala here, we cannot run it directly, it will fail. Rather than running it directly, you have to enclose it in double quotes like this. Once you enclose in double quotes, space is optional. If you want, you can add space, and then you have to give this exclamation mark at the end. So this exclamation mark is available to you as part of the previous import statement, which is nothing but import sys.process._. Only when you import this, you should be able to use this exclamation mark to run the Linux based commands. Let me move this doc. I don't know why it is coming back again and again onto this. Now let me run this. Now you can see that there is a file here with the JSON as extension. To preview whether the data is appropriately written into the JSON, some of the things which you need to review is the header, in case or the column names. As this is JSON, we just want to refer the column names. As part of the problem statement, they might ask you to use specific column names, and you might want to look into those details. If it is CSV also, they might ask you to write the header, and you might have to review first few lines to make sure that header is also written with appropriate column names. And also you can use tail to just review last few records. So I will demonstrate how to see both header as well as the tail to make sure that data is written the way it should be. This is applicable only to text file formats. If it is Parquet or Avro, you should not be using the HDFS DFS commands to preview the data. To preview how the files are saved, you can use this approach. But if you want to preview the data, I don't recommend you to say cat or tail on Parquet or WASI file formats. You should not do that. Rather, you should use APIs itself to validate the data. You can say spark.read.parquet to read the Parquet files, and you can say print schema and show to make sure that data is written properly in the files with appropriate columns and all. But if you want to preview the text files, you can use the same approach. Instead of saying -ls, you can say cat if you want to check first few lines. Here you have to use the pattern rather than using the complete file name. I'm using pattern. I'm saying part star, and then we can pipe it to more. So piping might not work. If it doesn't work, we will see how to take it further. Yeah, piping is not working. It is actually printing everything. So make sure that you don't use pipe with this. This piping will work as part of the Linux, but with this one, it is not working. So make sure you understand the side effect of this. and don't run cat commands at all, whether you are using Linux terminal or a Spark shell here. And cat with more, I don't recommend to run this. I forgot the side effect of using more by using pipe. I apologize for that. But if you want to just preview last few lines, you can say -tail and hit enter. Okay, tail, we have to give the complete file name. That's why it is not working. So with the tail, what I have to do is I have to copy this entire path. Now I can say hdfs dfs -tail, paste it, and then exclamation mark and hit enter. Now you can see the output. You can see the column names and data types. So we are able to see the extension of the files. If they are asking for a compression algorithm to validate whether the files are compressed or not, again you can run ls command to preview the file names and see if they are compressed or not. So these are the things which can be leveraged without getting out of this Spark session. Okay, now if you want to make sure that the schema is also correct, because the data is in JSON format, what I can do, I can say spark.read.json, and then I can actually pass the path, which is nothing but this one. So this is the output. I'm trying to validate the output here. Okay. If I want to just print the schema, I can say print schema like this. It will give the schema. It will just take a moment and it will print the schema for us. You can see the column names and data types. You need to ensure that the data types are in line with whatever the expectations are as per the problem statement. You can also preview the data by saying show. If there are any issues with respect to the data that is being saved to the underlying files, you might see some inconsistent results like null values in some of the columns, even if when there needs to be data in those columns. It could be due to the bug in your code. So this is how you should be able to validate without coming out of the Spark shell in this case. Now, if you are using Python-based approach, for that you have to launch using PySpark. So in our labs, it is PySpark 2. While taking the exam, it could be just PySpark. You just need to make sure how to launch. If you are not sure, you can type up to PySpark and hit tab twice to see what all commands are there with this string at the beginning. So we have PySpark and PySpark 2 in our labs because we have two versions of Spark. But in the new environment, which is provided as part of CCA 175 exam, there is only one version of Spark, and hence I assume that you just launch it using PySpark command. Now you can hit enter. It is launching using Python 2.7.5. If that is the case, and if you are familiar with Python 3, and if you want to use only Python 3, what you have to do is you have to say export PySpark _Python, and you have to give the Python version which you want to use. In this case, I want to use Python 3. Even this one you need to validate. If you just say Python 3 and if there is nothing like Python 3 on the system, then it will throw errors. So to validate, again you can say Python and hit a tab and see what all variations of Python commands we have. We have Python, Python 2, Python 3, Python 3.6, etc. So in this case, I want to use Python 3. For that, I can say export PySpark _Python equal to Python 3. Now I can say PySpark 2 -- master yarn. So in our labs, we have to use PySpark 2. So let me use PySpark 2 here, and then let me launch it. Now it is being launched using Python 3.6.8. Okay. Now as the session is launched, I will also demonstrate how to write the code using PySpark. I'm not sure whether we can use the paste style approach using Python. I'm not 100% sure on that. I will just write code separately on each of the lines, and I will explain you how to validate using PySpark also without exiting from here. So you can say orders equal to spark.read.csv. What is the path? It is nothing but public retail underscore DB orders. Now I have created a data frame by name orders using the data that is available as part of the public retail DB orders. I also want to infer the schema. So I can actually say infer schema equal to true like this, or I can also use the option the way I have demonstrated with the Scala based approach. Okay, now orders is created and I want to write it to the target location, which is nothing but /user/training/ retail DB /orders. And the way I can write is by saying orders dot write.json. Okay, and as the directory already exists, I want to use mode to overwrite. Now I can say JSON, and the location is nothing but user training retail underscore DB orders, and then I can close the bracket, and the data will be written to that path. It is already written. Now to validate, in Python we have to import OS. In Scala we have imported sys.process._. Here we have to import OS, and then using os.system you can run any Linux based command within Python itself without coming out of this. So I can say hdfs dfs-ls user training retail underscore DB orders and hit enter, and you can see the file. If you want to tail, you can actually say os.system hdfs dfs-tail, and then I should be able to tail this file. I'm not sure whether it will tail or not. Let's see. Yeah, it is tailing, and you can see the details. We can also try cat with more and see if it works. With the Scala based approach, it did not work. I am now validating using Python based approach with the os.system. So here I am saying cat, and then I'm piping to more. Sorry. To see if it works. Yeah, with Python it is working. os.system, it is working, and you can see first few lines. If it is a CSV file and if it needs to have a header, you can validate whether there is a header or not, like this. So this is how you can use it. But if you hit Ctrl+C here, yeah, glad that it didn't go out of the Spark. So we should be able to run the code again for other problem statements without coming out of this PySpark based session. So this is how you can run the OS commands using Spark Shell or PySpark without getting out of it. Okay, so that being said, I hope you enjoyed the session. Very, very important one, and it can definitely save your time while taking the exam. You don't need to come out of PySpark or Spark Shell, and that will definitely boost the confidence in you. If you like the video, please click on the like button. If you want to share with your friends, you can click on share and share with your friends. I will also provide the link as part of the Slack channel. You can be part of the Slack channel and you can start raising questions, and I will try to identify patterns and I will share the details with you in the similar way. Thank you. Bye.